What Nana witnessed left him utterly astonished. In just a moment, the antelope began to change. It shook off its skin, and beneath it, there was a very beautiful woman. Nana had never seen anyone as stunning as she was. Once upon a time, in the beautiful village of Amukwe, nestled in the rolling green hills, lived a man named Uwakwe. He was not just any villager. Uwakwe was the richest farmer in the area. His farm was the biggest in all of Amukwe, sprawling across the fertile land like a green ocean. He grew every type of crop imaginable, tall stalks of corn that waved in the breeze, fields of wheat that shimmered like gold under the sun, and vegetable patches that looked like a patchwork quilt made of every color. Despite his great wealth and successful farm, Uwakwe had a habit that puzzled and saddened many in the village. He rarely ever spent his money on his family. His wife and children lived a simple, modest life and often went without new clothes or toys that other village children enjoyed. Instead of caring for his family, Uwakwe had two loves that he spent all his money on: alcohol and the company of women. Every evening, after a long day of supervising his workers in the field, Uwakwe would order a huge gallon of fresh palm wine. He and his friends would gather around, filling the village square with loud laughter and stories as they drank late into the night. Meanwhile, just a short walk away, his wife and children would sit in their quiet home, their stomachs rumbling with hunger as they listened to the distant sounds of merriment. And it wasn't just the palm wine that kept Uwakwe from his family. On the night he wasn't at the village square, he could be found at the local brothel, where he lavished his money on company of women, laughing and enjoying himself without care. The bright lanterns of the brothel cast long shadows as Uwakwe indulged in his pleasures, oblivious to the needs and the growing sadness of his family waiting at home. This way of life continued in Amukwe, with Uwakwe choosing the fleeting joy of the night over the lasting warmth of his family. Under the shadow of Uwakwe's wild ways, his wife Egodi found herself struggling. She had cried countless tears, pleaded for hours, and even asked Uwakwe's friend to help persuade him to change his habits. But no matter what she tried, Uwakwe remained lost in his wayward lifestyle, enjoying late nights with his friends and ignoring the needs of his family. Egodi, a caring and strong woman, was the mother of two wonderful children, a bright and cheerful girl named Dimma, and a curious, energetic boy named Nana. Despite Uwakwe being rich, with lands sprawling with crops, the large profits from Uwakwe's farm never seemed to find their way to his home, spent instead on nights out and other indulgences. Determined to provide for her children, Egodi joined the other village women at the market every market day. She worked tirelessly, selling small goods from handmade crafts to fresh vegetables. Each day was a hustle filled with the chatter of the market and the clinking of coins, as she earned just enough money to make ends meet. With the little money she gathered from her efforts, Egodi managed to feed Dimma and Nana. She always made sure they had enough to feel comfortable, wrapping them in love and the warmth of a home that tried to shield them from the harsher realities of their father's neglect. Egodi's life was a constant juggle, But her resilience and love for her children filled their lives with moments of joy, despite the challenges they faced. Instead of mending his ways, Uwakwe became even more famous in the village for his lavish spending habits, especially in the company of women. He was known for splashing out large sums of money, attracting many women who enjoyed the attention and gifts he freely gave. This behavior made the village folks whisper even more, as they saw him ignore the needs of his own family, choosing instead to spend his wealth on strangers who flattered him. Among those drawn to Uwakwe's extravagant lifestyle was Adanne, a well-known prostitute in the village, noted for her beauty and cunning lifestyle. Adanne had a reputation of her own, and when she saw how Uwakwe didn't hesitate to open his wallet to women, she crafted a plan. She wanted a life of luxury, far away from the hardships she knew, and Uwakwe, with his overflowing pockets, seemed like the perfect ticket to that dream. Adanne observed how Uwakwe spent on other women, and she decided she would charm him into marrying her. She believed that if she could capture his heart, she could change her fate. Adanne had heard about how poorly Uwakwe treated his family, but she was convinced that with her charm she could cage him, making him so enchanted that he wouldn't look at another woman again. In her plan, once charmed by her, Uwakwe would do whatever she asked, giving her control over his wealth. She was so determined to use her charms to their fullest, ensuring that Uwakwe would turn his back on his old ways and focus solely on making her his queen. She visited a witch doctor who gave her a very strong powder to add to his drink. This would help turn Uwakwe's heart towards her, and he would live all his life doing her bidding. Adanne's charm indeed worked wonders on Uwakwe, and before long, she announced she was pregnant. This development swiftly led to Uwakwe taking her as his second wife, further entwining their lives. With Adanne's arrival, life took a harsh turn for Egodi and her children. Not only did Egodi face continued neglect from Uwakwe, but Adanne also made it her mission to torment her every single day. Adanne was troublesome, always stirring up conflicts where there were none. Whenever these quarrels reached Uwakwe's ears, he would invariably blame Egodi, believing Adanne's twisted tales without question. Each morning, before the sun even had a chance to warm the earth, and before Egodi could rise from her bed, Adanne would start her daily torments. She would grab her broom and sweep loudly in front of Egodi's hut, all the while singing a cruel taunting song. Egodi, the rejected woman, your husband despises you so. Why don't you return to your father's house? These words cut deep into Egodi's heart, leaving her to wonder why Uwakwe was letting their home fall apart under Adanne's scheming. Adanne's main goal was to drive Egodi away, to have Uwakwe all to herself. Under the spell of Adanne's charms, Uwakwe was blind to her manipulations. He showered Adanne with money, which she flaunted ostentatiously in front of Egodi, always eager to showcase her new clothes or jewelry. Adanne would start, strutting around with an air of superiority. My husband bought me these beautiful clothes. He loves me so much that he gives me everything. Unlike some people he can't stand. Egodi truly saw what it felt to be living in hell, living with the constant cruelty of Adanne, while their husband turned a blind eye. No matter how much Egodi cried, Uwakwe was unmoved, completely under Adane's influence. Despite the heartache and tears, Egodi found solace in caring for her children, dedicating herself to their happiness and well-being amidst the storm that Adane had brought to their lives. When Adane gave birth to a son, Uwakwe was overjoyed beyond measure. He doted on the boy as if he were his only child, almost completely forgetting about Dimma and Nnanna, his children with Egodi. He named the boy Obinna, which means his father's heart, a name that reflected just how much Uwakwe cherished him. Uwakwe spoiled Obinna with every kind of luxury a child could imagine. Each day in their home was like a grand celebration. Uwakwe would buy the finest palm wine and large cuts of bushmeat, and together with Adane and Obinna, they would feast like royalty. Obinna grew up having everything he wanted, from toys to treats, all provided generously by his father. Meanwhile, Dimma and Nnanna watched from the sidelines, their hearts heavy with sadness. They saw how their father lavished his attention and gifts on Obinna, while they seemed to become invincible to him. Whenever they approached Uwakwe, hoping for a bit of affection or help, he would yell at them angrily, dismissing them harshly to go to their useless mother. Despite their father's coldness, Dimma and Nnanna still worked hard on his farm, helping with the crops and the endless chores, hoping maybe their efforts would soften the hearts of their father. Yet, even though they contributed significantly to the farm that fed the family's wealth, Uwakwe gave them very little in return, barely acknowledging their hard work and the love they still held for him. The contrast in how Uwakwe treated his children was stark and unfair, leaving Dimma and Nnanna longing for the warmth and love that their father showered so freely on Obinna. As time marched on, Obinna grew from a pampered child into a very spoiled young man. His upbringing, filled with endless indulgence and no discipline, turned him into a real problem for everyone around him. Obinna became known for his quick temper and his habits of picking fights with just about everyone in the village. The villagers quickly grew to dislike him intensely, as he showed no respect for anyone, young or old. He was notorious for his lack of courtesy and would even resort to violence against any of the village elders who dared to correct him. When he lashed out, the elders didn't hold back their words, often cursing him for his behavior, which only made his reputation worse. Unfortunately, Obinna's poor behavior didn't stop with neighbors and elders. He even caused trouble at home, mirroring his father's reckless ways. Like Uwakwe, he spent his days drinking and chasing after women, completely avoiding any real responsibilities. He never worked a day in his life and always demanded money from his father. If Uwakwe hesitated or refused to give him, Obinna would turn violent, sometimes even beating his father to get his way and take the money by force. This led Uwakwe's life to take a sorrowful turn, as he realized that his beloved son had become a source of pain and regret. While all of this unfolded, Nnanna and Dimma, who had suffered neglect from their father because of his favoritism towards Obinna, watched the chaos with a mix of emotions. They had been deeply hurt by their father's actions throughout their lives, and now, as they observed Uwakwe facing the consequences of his favoritism and poor parenting, they couldn't help but feel a sense of ironic amusement. Witnessing their father endure the results of his own mistakes brought a complicated, bittersweet feeling to their hearts. Adane was not the kind of mother who set good examples. No matter how badly Obinna behaved, she always stood by him, urging him to act like an odogu, which in their language meant a great man. However, her idea of greatness was twisted, as it only encouraged Obinna's worst traits. Obinna grew up to mirror his mother's misguided values and lack of morality. His reckless behavior and constant demands increasingly stressed his father, Uwakwe. As time went on, the continuous strain and chaos Obinna brought into his life took a severe toll on Uwakwe's health. Eventually, the ending torment led to Uwakwe suffering a heart attack, which tragically ended his life. Despite his wealth, Uwakwe's final days were as miserable as those of a destitute man, filled with regret and sorrow. After Uwakwe's death, Adanne and Obinna quickly took control of all his possessions. They claimed everything he had left behind, from the smallest household item to the extensive farmlands, insisting that Uwakwe had only recognized Obinna as his true son. Poor Nnanna and his family were left with nothing, as Adanne and Obinna greedily hoarded the inheritance. During these tough times, Nnanna had become a hunter. Although he wasn't wealthy, he was skilled enough to catch enough bushmeat to support his aging mother Egodi and his sister Dimma. Egodi, witnessing her son's efforts, encouraged Nnanna to keep focusing on his hard work. She believed deeply in the virtues of diligence and prayer. Every single day, she prayed for the gods to bless her son. "My son," she would always say, "blessings come from God alone and not man. I know you will be great someday." Egodi held onto the hope that the gods would see the injustice her family suffered and would one day punish Adanne and Obinna for their greed and cruelty. Even before Uwakwe was laid to rest, Obinna began to sell off his father's valuable possessions, recklessly spending the money as quickly as it came in. Day by day, his behavior grew worse. He became more uncontrollable and reckless, and not even his mother Adanne could stop him. The most heartbreaking part of it all was how Obinna squandered the wealth. He sold valuable properties that his father had worked hard to acquire and spent all the proceeds on women and excessive drinking. With no one to guide or correct him, Obinna was spiraling towards destruction. While his father was wayward, Uwakwe had also been hardworking and diligent about his business. In stark contrast, Obinna refused to do any work at all. He had no interest in farming or maintaining what his father had built, but only in consuming what was left of it. Because of Obinna's wastefulness, there was no money left to give Uwakwe the kind of burial he deserved. The family's financial situation had become so dire that they could not afford the traditional rites and ceremonies typically given to honor the deceased. Therefore, Uwakwe was buried simply and quietly, without any of the fanfare or respect usually shown, as if he were a pauper. This sad end deeply contrasted with the life of wealth he had lived, marking a sorrowful chapter for the family he left behind. After the burial of their father, tensions in the family escalated when Obinna demanded that Nnanna leave their father's compound. He claimed that all of it was now his inheritance. Nnanna, who had been quietly enduring Obinna's reckless behavior for too long, felt a surge of anger. How could Obinna say such thing to him? The compound rightfully belonged to him as the firstborn. This time, Nnanna decided he couldn't just stand by. He was ready to stand his ground and confront his brother. However, Egodi, their mother, had a different perspective. She advised Nnanna against fighting Obinna. Let's go to the elders and ask them for another portion of land where we can build a new hut. Leave Obinna to his own devices. He is digging his own grave. If you step aside and let the gods handle this, his punishment will surely be severe. We have other options, she counseled wisely. Nana was deeply hurt, but he trusted his mother's wisdom. She often told him, silence is not weakness, reminding him that there was strength in choosing peace over conflict. Taking his mother's advice to heart, Nana went with her to meet the elders of their village. After explaining their situation, the elders sympathized with Nana and Egodi. They granted Nana a new piece of land where he could build a small hut for himself, his sister and his mother. It was a modest start, but Nana felt quiet strength in building a new life, free from the turmoil that Obinna brought into their old home. This new beginning marked a hopeful chapter for Nana and Egodi, away from the shadows of the past. Things were tough for Egodi and her children, but she never stopped offering blessings and words of encouragement to them, believing strongly in their ability to overcome their struggles. Despite the hardships, her heart was filled with love and hope, which she shared with them every day. Nana took on the role of the family provider, venturing into the forest daily with his hunting tools. Yet, many times he would trudge back home with empty hand, his shoulders slumped in disappointment. The lack of success in hunting was disheartening, but Nana knew he couldn't give up. His family depended on him, and he was determined to find a way to provide for them. After many fruitless days, Nana decided it was time to try his luck in a different part of the forest, known as the Idumo forest. This part of the forest was shrouded in mystery and old village tales. Stories whispered among the villagers spoke of spirits that could transform into animals, roaming the forest. While many dismissed these tales as mere myths, the forest had always been treated with a mix of fear and respect. Despite the eerie stories surrounding Idumo forest, Nana's desperation drove him to venture into its depths. His main concern was finding enough food to keep his family safe and fed. With a brave heart and a hopeful spirit, he stepped into the forest, ready to face whatever challenges it might hold, hoping that this new hunting ground would prove to be the answer to his family's needs. Every evening, Nana would set out into the forest, his heart set on returning with a catch. He carried his determination like a shield, staying in the forest until the first light of dawn began to touch the sky. As the sun's ray peeked through the trees, Nana would make his way back home, only to return again in the evening. It was a tough routine, but he was committed to providing for his family. During one of these nightly hunts in the mysterious Idumo forest, Nana encountered a strange antelope. The first time he saw it, his excitement surged. Quickly, he took aim with his gun and fired. To his astonishment, the bullets seemed to hit the antelope, but incredibly, they didn't penetrate its hide. Instead, the antelope simply ran away seemingly unharmed. This peculiar incident left Nana baffled and a bit frightened. How could an antelope escape unscathed when he was sure the bullet had struck it? The mystery of this antelope intrigued him deeply, stirring a mix of curiosity and determination within him. He resolved to uncover the truth behind this strange creature. Despite the eerie feeling it gave him, Nana decided to keep this encounter a secret, choosing not to share it with anyone else. He was determined to find out more about this mysterious antelope, wondering if perhaps The old tales of spirits in the forest were more than just stories. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight broke through the trees, the mysterious antelope would appear, dashing through the forest with grace and speed. Nana, who had become fixated on catching this creature, would wait for it, rifle in hand. Each time he shot at it, the antelope would pause, turn to look at him with an almost knowing gaze, and then bolt away, disappearing into the thick foliage. Every evening, like clockwork, the antelope would sprint through the forest again, as if it was heading back to his home. This routine fascinated Nana and deepened the mystery. There was something truly unusual about this antelope. As he learned more about it, Nana began to suspect that this was no ordinary animal. In truth, the antelope was a creature from the spirit world. It emerged every day from this mystical realm, bringing with it the powers to bestow good luck on the kind-hearted and misfortune on those with evil intents. This antelope had roamed the earth for decades, its true nature known by none in the human world. At the break of dawn, the spirit would leave its real home, taking the form of an antelope and running to a secluded part of the forest. Once it reached this hidden spot, the creature would shed its antelope guise, hide its skin in a calabash and keep it by the tree in the forest. Then, it would transform into a stunningly beautiful woman, dressed as though she was going to the market. She would mingle among the villagers. In the market, the spirit in disguise moved through the crowd, visiting various stalls. The vendors who welcomed her with kindness and respect found that their business flourished like never before, as she subtly left behind a charm that brought them good luck. Conversely, those who were rude or unwelcoming would find that their day turned unexpectedly dismal, all due to the subtle power of the spirit's curse. But this impact of her visit remained her secret alone. As the sun began to set and the sky dimmed, she would hurry back to the forest to reassume her antelope form and return to the spirit world. Any delay in this transformation was dangerous. If she failed to revert in time, she risked losing her ability to return home, becoming trapped in the human world, vulnerable and disoriented, possibly even facing death at the hands of a hunter like Nana. This delicate balance made her existence both magical and precarious. Nana, driven by a burning curiosity to unravel the mystery of the strange antelope, decided it was futile to keep shooting at it. Realizing that his bullets were just being wasted, he came up with a new plan to discover the creature's secrets. He searched through the forest for the perfect vantage point and found the tallest tree with a thick canopy of branches. Early one morning, he climbed up to the top of this tree, where he could see across the entire forest. From his high perch, he waited quietly, his eyes scanning the landscape for any sign of the mysterious antelope. As the sun rose, the antelope appeared, sprinting through the forest just as it did every morning. Nana watched intently, tracing its path with his eyes to see where it might go. The antelope eventually stopped at a secluded spot, hidden from the usual paths of the forest. What Nana witnessed left him utterly astonished. In just a moment, the antelope began to change. It shook off its skin, and beneath it, there was a very beautiful woman. Nana had never seen anyone as stunning as she was. His mouth hung open in shock as he watched her carefully lift some dry leaves and cunningly hide her antelope skin in a calabash, and then keep it by the tree. The leaves were so similar in appearance to the calabash that nobody would ever suspect it was there. Then she walked away, blending in just like any other villager. Once she was out of sight, Nana quickly climbed down from the tree and went to the spot where she had hidden her skin. He took the calabash, thinking he might need it as leverage or to learn more about this incredible transformation. Nana then returned to his spot up in the tree, his heart pounding with excitement. He decided to wait there for her return, eager to see what would happen next. This adventure was turning into a thrilling game for him, far beyond any hunt he had ever imagined. That day was unlike any other for the mysterious woman who could transform into an antelope. She had a nagging feeling that something was amiss and decided not to wait until her usual time to return to the forest. As soon as she entered the forest, Nana watched intently from his perch on the tree. He observed as she hurried to the spot where she had hidden her skin. However, her movements quickly turned frantic when she discovered it was missing. She wandered from one spot to another, visibly upset and confused. Finally exhausted from her fruitless search, she sat down looking utterly disoriented and lost. Nana, who had initially felt a thrill at discovering her secret, now felt a pang of guilt seeing her distress. He climbed down from the tree and approached her with a smile, trying to ease the tension. "Is there a problem?" he asked gently. She looked up, recognizing him as the hunter who had often shot at her. Yet she said nothing, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and desperation. "I may be of help," Nana offered, hoping to fix the situation he had caused. "What are you looking for?" Still, she remained silent, her gaze wary. "All right, since you don't want to speak, I may as well head back. But I think I have something that belongs to you. But you must tell me what it is," Nana said, trying to coax her into talking. Her attention snapped to him at his words, and she immediately began to plead. "Please, it's getting late and I need it. I beg of you, please. I am not human and I'm almost running out of time here." Her voice shook as tears streamed down her cheeks. Moved by her desperation, Nana softened. She then shared her story, revealing her true nature and the reason for her daily appearances in the forest. Touched by her tale and her plight, Nana handed back her skin without hesitation. Grateful beyond words, she stopped him as he started to leave and decided to reward his kindness. "Once I vanish, go to the tree close to where I used to hide my skin. There, you will find a pot filled with eggs. Take only just one. When you get home, hide it in a secret place where only you can access it. After 3 days, go there and whatever you find, take it as a reward for your kindness and good heart." Nana was skeptical, but intrigued enough to find out. He agreed to her terms. As soon as she vanished, he went to the tree and, true to her words, he saw the pot of eggs. He took just one as she instructed and headed home, telling no one about this mysterious exchange. As he left the forest that evening, his heart was heavy with wonder and anticipation about what the future would hold. As time went on, Obinna's reckless behavior and poor decisions caught up with him. He had sold all of his father's property and squandered every penny he received from those sales. Left with nothing, he found himself wandering the village at night, desperate and destitute. When begging didn't fill his pockets, Obinna resorted to stealing. He began sneaking into people's farms at night, taking goats, chickens, and yams, anything he could quickly sell at the market. With the little money he earned from these thefts, he would immediately waste it on alcohol, continuing his downward spiral. This turn of events brought great shame to his mother Adanne, who found herself powerless to control her son. Obinna's actions grew more aggressive, and he did not hesitate to beat up his mother mercilessly, just as he did his father when she attempted to correct him. The situation in their household had become dire. Everything the family once owned, including the grand house that Uwakwe had built, was gone. Now, Adanne and Obinna were living in a small dilapidated hut, originally meant for Uwakwe's farm workers. What was once a symbol of their affluence was reduced to a symbol of their complete ruin. Adanne spent her days in sorrow, overwhelmed by regret for her past actions and decisions. She longed for a chance to turn back time and undo the damage that had been caused, mostly by her own hands. The reality of their situation weighed heavily on her, as she realized that her choices had not only destroyed her life, but also the life of her son. She lived each day in tears, mourning the loss of what they had and the grim future that now lay before them. 3 days after hiding the enchanted egg, Nnanna approached the room with a mixture of hope and nervousness. He wasn't sure of what to expect, but he knew something extraordinary might await him. As he swung open the door to the hut, his heart skipped a beat. To his utter astonishment, the room wasn't as he left it. Instead, it was filled to the brim with glittering gold. Nnanna couldn't contain his excitement and shouted in joy. Tears streamed down his cheeks as he realized the extent of his newfound wealth. It was all pure gold. This treasure was far from anything he had ever imagined. Nnanna ran back to the forest to thank the antelope. He bowed in respect as he saw her, and she turned and stared at him as if acknowledging his gratitude, before she sped off again. He came back home and shared his success story with his family, and together they kept it a secret. Life changed dramatically and quickly for Nnanna and his family. He sold some of the gold and built a magnificent mansion right in his village, replacing their humble home with a symbol of their new status. His mother Egodi and his sister Dimma were overjoyed and lived comfortably, their days of hardship a distant memory. They could never be poor again forever. Nnanna also invested in large tracts of land and began a farming operation, hiring many workers and effectively stepping into the role his father once held. He quickly became the richest man in the village, respected and admired for his success and generosity. When Adanne heard about Nnanna's prosperity, the news shocked her. She was overwhelmed by regret and shame, realizing that the family she once tormented and belittled had risen to such heights. The mockery and disdain she had shown them now returned to her as a painful echo of her past actions. Adanne became increasingly troubled by how swiftly Nnanna and his family had risen to success. Determined not to be ridiculed in her own village, she decided she needed a drastic plan. She resolved to seek out the witch doctor in the distant town. This particular sorcerer was famed for his dangerous and powerful charms. He was the same one who had helped her cast her spell over Uwakwe many years ago. The journey was long and arduous, but Adanne was desperate. When she finally reached his isolated hut, the witch doctor was surprised to see her, noting how much time had passed since their last meeting. With a grave tone, Adanne explained why she had come. She wanted answers about Nnanna's sudden fortune and the prosperity of Egodi's family. The witch doctor listened, then consulted the gods. After a while, he spoke, revealing that Nnanna had gained favor with a benevolent spirit of the forest. This spirit only appeared to those with pure hearts and noble intentions, and that was why Nnanna had been blessed with such incredible wealth. Adanne was stunned, but desperate to change her son Obinna's fate. With her son now wandering the village, stealing livestock and valuables, she begged the witch doctor for help, pleading for her son to have a chance to meet the spirit and be transformed as Nnanna had been. After much pleading, the witch doctor finally relented. He handed her a small pouch filled with a fine powder. "Take this powder and give it to your son," he instructed. On that day, he must not drink a drop of alcohol, and he must arrive at the Idumo forest at dawn. He will find the good woman heading to the market through the forest. When he enters the forest, tell him to rub the powder on his face. It will allow him see the spirit. Adanne's face lit up with excitement. She couldn't contain her joy, believing that soon she and her son would be as rich as Nnanna and his family. With her heart brimming with hope, she thanked the witch doctor and made her way back, clutching the pouch tightly in her hands. As soon as Adanne arrived home, she called her son Obinna to share the exciting news she had learned from the witch doctor. Obinna, who had caused so much trouble and grief, was surprisingly moved by his mother's efforts to help him succeed. He apologized for all the pain he had caused her and promised to change his ways. Touched by his mother's dedication, Obinna vowed to make her proud. He was to set out for the forest that very evening, and Adanne sternly warned him not to drink any alcohol. However, despite his promises, Obinna couldn't resist his old habits. He went around the village boasting to everyone that he would soon be as wealthy as his brother Nnanna. "I have discovered his secret, and you all should watch out for my return," he bragged loudly, swigging from a bottle. That evening, instead of heeding his mother's warning, Obinna entered the forest drunk, carrying a bottle of palm wine with him. He applied the powder as instructed but continued to drink heavily, and eventually fell asleep. Miraculously, he woke up just before sunrise and spotted a woman leaving the forest. Dizzy from his night of drinking, he clumsily called out to her, "Hey, will you stop there?" The woman, unfazed by his rude interruption, continued walking. Frustrated, Obinna caught up to her and began to whip her with a cane he had grabbed. "Didn't you hear me talking to you? Are you out of your mind?" he shouted. The woman turned to face him, her expression one of shock and disbelief at his behavior. "You made my brother rich," Obinna ranted. "I need you to give me my share or I'll kill you." She simply smiled, which only irritated Obinna more. He didn't realize who she was or the powers she held. The spirit, seeing his true nature, pointed to a tree. "Go to the pot and pick just one egg," she instructed, just as she had told Nnanna. "Keep it in a hidden room. After 3 days, check it to see what you find." Ignoring her instructions, Obinna scoffed and decided to take all the eggs. "If Nnanna got all that wealth from one single egg, I'll take them all," he thought gleefully. "That woman must think I'm stupid. By the time I take all these eggs, I would become the richest man in my village, and even Nnanna would be beneath me." He carried the pot back home to his village and hid it in an old hut. For the next 3 days, Obinna boasted throughout the village about his impending fortune. When the third day arrived, he threw a grand celebration with drummers, singers, and dancers. Adanne dressed in her finest hose, and they both danced joyfully, eagerly awaiting the moment of revelation. However, when Obinna confidently walked into the hut to unveil his treasure, he was met with a terrifying sight. Instead of gold, a group of angry masquerades wielding long canes appeared. He screamed and ran out of the hut, and they began to chase him and his mother, flogging them relentlessly. The village erupted in chaos as everyone fled in fear. The masquerades did not stop until both Adanne and Obinna lay lifeless. As suddenly as they had appeared, the masquerades vanished, leaving the village in stunned silence. The next day, the bodies of Adanne and Obinna were taken to the evil forest and buried there, marking a grim end to their tragic tale. The village slowly returned to peace, forever remembering the lesson of greed and hubris that led to their downfall. Nnanna got married to a beautiful girl from his village, strongly determined to be a better father and husband to his family. They all lived happily ever after, all their sufferings now being a thing of the past. Hi besties! Thank you for watching this amazing story, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it. I would like you to share your lessons in the comments section. And if you are just coming here for the first time, I would like you to kindly subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever we post new videos. Please share your lessons in the comments section so that we can all learn from it. And thank you so much for always supporting, sticking through, and loving me. Right now, I'll have to go and see you in our next story. Bye!